Aries, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late August 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Aries collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the Rams? What do you got for us? As we move closer to Virgo season, it's a beautiful time of year. But what's happening? What energies, messages, insights can we take a look at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean in, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Aries, the Rams. What is happening here in late August? Please and thank you. And I've been liking the energy of late. I mean, it's been a little up and down for the past couple months, but last week's reading was pretty nice, and we'll talk about that as we move through this reading. But let's get this first card out nice and quick. There we go. All right, so, I mean, for Aries like us, we're all about forward movement, forward action, but for some reason, there's an energy of the past here. This card always reminds me of the Six of Cups in different ways, and it also has little tones of last week's reading as well with communication. But before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the August subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk more about this card. So if you look at the imagery, it's pretty simple. I think this is a lovely card. We see that lady in the center. She has her eyes closed. She's holding a locket. There's like a little baby doll down there. There's also notes and letters. So I always think of a reminiscing type of energy. So for a lot of us Aries in this time, hey, maybe we're doing some walks down memory lane. This could also represent situations from the past or individuals from the past, whether it's on the mind or whether these are themes that begin to return. There is that connection to the past. But aside from that, this could be an imagination type of energy, very imaginative, creative. This person is very much daydreaming. But we have these notes of communication and talking, which we saw last week. So for a lot of you, whether it's a conversation you need to have, a conversation that you want to have, this could be showing up here right in the front. So we're just going to put her down right there. And yeah, let's get into tarot. I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Let's shuffle it up one time here for the Rams, please. What do we got for the Aries collective? Late August, please. Pardon me. Okay, and while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk a little bit more about last week's reading. It was titled An Emotional Talk, so you see what I mean? There's like these little themes that are connected with this card as well, where either someone wants to get something off their chest, maybe you want to get something off your chest, especially if there's something you've been bottling up, okay? So things like that could bleed over for a couple weeks. You know how the energy goes. But let's see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid. It's never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or someone that you're linked to. So let's get it going. 3 cards here for Aries to start us off nice. What do we have? Please. There we go. Card number 1. Thank you. Okay, King of Wands. There we are, right there. Big fire sign energy, not gender specific. Okay, we are comfortable with this element. We are comfortable starting off with an energy like this because it's quick. It's very, very quick. So just know there could be certain things that are getting off to a very fast start. These are things that could be like 0 to 100. But I think you got it under control. Let's get a couple more. Let's get a couple more here. Thank you. 7 of Wands. Lots of fire so far. So again, there's a comfort level here. We'll talk about that 7 of Wands. Hopefully this isn't confrontational. But let's get one more. What do we have here for Aries, please? Thank you. 8 of Wands, so all fire. This rarely happens in my readings because I don't use many cards. So when we get a lot of the same element, I always have to raise a little eyebrow at it. So we do have themes from last week showing up as well. But this fire energy, there's something brewing. That's what I could say. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. So at first look, first glance, again, I know I've been giving a little commentary as the cards been popping out. All wands, all fire. This is our element. If you're cross-watching for an Aries, same goes. This is an energy that they could be very comfortable in, whether it's a flowing energy, whether there's a little conflict. And I'm kind of picking that up here on the back end, like a possible stutter step. not a fake out where it's like, okay, well, I got to fight for this. It's an odd little stutter step of energy, but there can be a breakthrough in various places for a lot of the Aries collective. Card of you, it's all this interesting energy, but the thing with a lot of fire, it could be unpredictable. So let's go through piece by piece and really start to build this out. So position number one, we have the King of Wands. So again, in my simplistic style, this could represent us. Again, it's not gender specific, so male, female, anything in between don't matter. Big Aries energy or other fire signs, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Now, I always say kings represent control of their respective suit. And when we're looking at a lot of fire, this is a passionate energy. This is your physical vitality. It's your internal engine, your internal combustion. So when I see this King of Wands, it's like, all right, we're controlling where we put our energy. Hopefully, right? Depending on what shows up around it, because sometimes this could be unpredictable. That's the shadow side of the King of Wands, is that it could really lose track or do too much or do too little. It's all about finding a balance with this King of Wands, very entrepreneurial, outgoing, action-based type of energy where it's like, okay, well, I need to see results or I need to make something happen. If I'm not moving forward, it feels like I'm moving backwards. That's what I always say with this King of Wands, but it could be very good. If that's not the case, Spirit could just be saying, hey, Aries, pay attention to what you're giving your energy to. Are you wasting it on something, or are you doing it right? I mean, it all really depends. Now, moving to the center, we have the Seven of Wands. I see this a lot in my personal readings, right? So the Seven of Wands, we see this individual, it's like they're standing up on a wall and they are fighting the good fight, right? We have all these people kind of surrounding them. Now, in the positive sense, this is a huge card of determination. Like, I will not stop, I cannot stop. It's a hard-fought victory type of energy in its most positive sense. In its negative sense, it could be very combative and could represent issues and problems and spirit throwing tests at you. But the thing I love about it is there's no quit in this type of energy. Other things you might want to look out for with the Seven of Wands: feeling trapped, feeling like there might not be much you could do in regards to something where it's like, all right, well, I want to control, but there's really not much I could do when the Seven of Wands is here. In a smaller sense, watch out for cabin fever. If you've been a little too routine, especially with all this fire energy, if you've been a little too predictable, too routine, like there could be unexpected energy coming in, because this fire energy moves things forward. And this is a bit of a battle. But moving to the back end is what I really like, because the energy seems to free up. So when we see how all of this is flowing, I'm liking it so far as an Aries myself. But we have the Eight of Wands. And we see the the 8 wands, and I say they're similar to arrows cutting through the sky. One of the fastest moving cards, one of the biggest action cards in the whole entire deck as well. It can be fiery communication, so back and forth, a lot of talking, a lot of chit chat. It's very explosive in its ways as well. So if we're not talking about like explosive types of communication, it could just be action, things going forward. So the way the energy flows is like, all right, I'm controlling this. There's a little bit of a battle, there's a little bit of pressure here, and then boom, this energy like breaks through. So I like it. So for a lot of Aries, and I don't want to say it until we clarify, but there could be various situations where there's a huge uptick, there's a huge breakthrough, whether this is in career or even personal relationships. I just like how it's flowing. So I want to dive deeper on all of it. Let's jump in and clarify. All right, get a good shuffle here for my Aries friends. Please, my gods, talk to me. What do we got? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. What's going on that king? What is going on with that king? Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Aries, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, King of Wands time. What is this energy? And remember, in my style, this could just be a way we might be feeling or something that's coming in. Okay, what do we got? Okay, Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, so there is something that you might be wanting to really switch up and change. For a portion of Aries, you might be feeling a little restless, if that makes sense, and you might need to switch up the routine. Okay, Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Usually this is a very grounded, immovable, yet abundant type of energy. So when we see this grounded, earthy energy in reverse, it's like, no, I want to change this, or I need something to change, or things are just routine. Watch out for boredom in this time. So I'm not saying it's people you might be getting bored of. It might be certain situations where it's like, blah, 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 same old, same old, same old. And for Aries energy, and trust me, I know when we get into that mode, like that's when we could get a little bit unpredictable. So I want to see how the energy plays. But I would say in its best case scenario with this Nine of Pentacles in reverse underneath the King of Wands, it's like a big change coming in, especially with all this fiery energy. It's moving something forward in a very explosive fashion. Other things about this card, yes, it's a lone wolf type of energy, but there's a lot of blessings and abundance to be had. But on the intuitive sense, I feel a lot of Aries might be growing restless or bored of something. That's just how it feels. So let's keep moving. Let's see what the rest of the reading has to say. Okay. For a big portion of you, very important that you don't feel like you're wasting your time with something as well. Like that's kind of a vibe I'm picking up. But let's keep moving over to that Seven of Wands. We'll see what that has to say. You know, if you feel like you're wasting your time or things are just too boring, there could be a big shakeup coming in, especially with this breakthrough type of energy. But let's see what the Seven has to say. Why is that Seven of Wands here? What's this little struggle? What is this? Quick, one shuffle, this card popped right out. Okay, Knight of Cups in reverse, though. Okay, fighting an urge. Okay, so this could easily be someone fighting an urge to do something or fighting a feeling or emotion. It doesn't feel like somebody's in denial. I will also say this, that classic Aries aggression might be on full display. Now, I'm not saying that you're purposely being aggressive or you're purposely steamrolling people over or anything like that. This could just be how people are perceiving us in this time where it's like, oh, you're a little extra fiery. So again, with like this little bit of boredom and then this energy here in the beginning, it's like very sporadic. Now, for a lot of Aries, we're good at taking on challenges. Like if we feel like something needs to change, we always like to have a challenge right in front of us. For some of you, if you haven't had one recently, that could be a part of the boredom here, right? Like if things are going a little too smooth, or there's a blandness here. And I feel like there's a shakeup that's coming in. It's coming, that's for sure. And we're going to see that here on the back end. But let's talk about it a little more. The Knight of Cups, usually in the upright, is very good Prince Charming energy, but it did show up in reverse. This could represent a water sign you might be having a little issue with. But this is a big card of creativity, emotions. It's a very soft, subtle type of energy. So when I see it in reverse underneath this Seven of Wands, whether this is something that you're like bored of or fighting against or needing a challenge, like all of these could apply with this Knight of Cups in reverse to me. For some of you, you might be going through some romantic situations right now, okay, where it's like I'm not even thinking about it, I don't even have that on my radar. I'm going to keep it out of my mind. Okay. There could also be mixed feelings as well, like feeling a couple different ways about something. But let's just keep moving forward because I don't feel like this is where it ends. Okay, so let's see what the Eight of Wands has to say. Yeah, I don't know why this restless type of energy is here. Let's see what's going on with that Eight of Wands. Just make sure you don't create challenges out of thin air. That's another thing I want to say. Like if life's going smooth, life's going good, awesome. Enjoy it while you can, right? The universe is always going to throw curveballs at us from time to time. So make sure you're not creating a harder time for yourself. Let's see what the Eight of Wands has. Then we'll do our recap before we get into the shadow. Thank you. Okay, something you could have been waiting on for quite a while could come rolling in. And this is that absolute explosive breakthrough type of energy that I'm seeing here in a very, very powerful way. More fire showing up here right on the back end. Now, the Three of Wands is usually a card of waiting, somebody in a holding pattern. But it's also like, all right, something's right there, something's within reach. So if there is something you've been desiring for quite a while, this could be it. And I've been saying it since the beginning. I have like this little unpredictable energy, but also that of a breakthrough of some kind. So regardless of all that stuff I was saying about feeling a little discontent or bored or needing a shakeup, that's actually coming in. If you're wanting a change, you will get one. Or something you've been waiting on for a long time. There's like this explosive breakthrough of energy where it's like, okay, this isn't the greatest. I'm going to fight through it, even though it doesn't feel nice. Then boom, that result comes in a really powerful way. Okay, now it depends on what you're going through. I also say with the Three of Wands, this is a card of travel. It's a card of distance, taking little trips and stuff like that. But to me, it's somebody manifesting something, creating it, and it's right there. So underneath this fast card, there's something coming in like really, really quick, and it could happen explosively, suddenly. So I like this end result. That's the one thing I will say here. If things have been a little humdrum, if they've been a little boring, I wouldn't expect it to stay like that for long. but there's also this little aggression to your energy as well. So be mindful of that. That's just something I see here in the center. Let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow card. So lots of fire, lots of energy that you should be comfortable with here this week, which is nice, even if you're going through some ups and downs. But if you kindly look in the box, position number 1, we do have the King of Wands with the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. I did say, like, for some of you, you might feel like something needs to change. Like, all right, well, that hasn't been working, or this wasn't working. I got to switch something up. So you could be wanting to change things in your routine. But intuitively, I was picking up a little bit of a bored type of energy. So there could be something about day-to-day life where it's like, no, this isn't really doing it for me. I'm bored. I'm bored. Moving to the center, yeah, there's still a little more of that. We have the 7 of Wands with the Knight of Cups showing up in reverse. A portion of you might be going through some romantic things here, but I did say emotionally you might be a little more aggressive than you think you're portraying yourself, so know that. People could be looking at you like, oh, all right, Aries, relax. No need to get all wound up. Pardon me. But another thing I feel here is like fighting the good fight and continuing to move forward. If you want change, it's here. Moving to the back end, something's going to break through for you, and it could be something you've been wanting for a long time. We have the 8 of Wands with the 3 of Wands. Great energy for travel, taking trips, and anything revolving around distance. But to me, it just felt like this energy's been building up, like a decision's been made. Now I'm fighting for something, boom, it finally breaks through. So I think for a lot of you, something you've been wanting for a while could come in the very near future. And yeah, great energy around travel. So I like this. Very explosive energy all around. So if you've been bored, you might want to do things you enjoy so you don't do anything too spontaneous. So please take a screenshot of that. Let's see what's in the shadows here. Guys, talk to me. What do we have in the shadows for Aries? And yeah, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you, whether it's something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be really good too. So let's get you one. Oh, and yes, if you've made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, shadow card time. What do we got? Thank you. Hey, there's that Knight of Cups I was talking about. We saw him right here in reverse. Now he's showing up here in the shadows. So if you do have dealings with a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, their energy is still attached in one form or another. Now, the Knight of Cups, again, it's a card of like emotion, creativity, very smooth. But it's also a card connecting to romance. So for those of you going through any romantic things, the energy is there and it could stick for a little bit. Not saying it's going to be anything too rough, but this is also very, very creative and imaginative. So for a lot of you, it's a great time to do new things, to flex your brain and creative muscle. But this is also very emotional. And we saw that in the center where it might be a bit of an emotional time where even if you feel like you're portraying yourself well, people could kind of read you like a book, like you're wearing your heart on your sleeve. So that's just something to consider. Okay, so if you'd like to look into that further, please take a screenshot. But yeah, Aries, that's what I have for you this week, my beautiful friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the August subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out my digital calendar at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. And for the July subscriber surprise, the winners will be announced after this week's Fire and Air readings. But for the August subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 2 copies of the beautiful Gilded Tarot Royale, one of my favorite decks ever. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments if you could time travel. Would you rather go into the past to meet your ancestors, or would you rather go into the future to meet your descendants? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.